Welcome to From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. On today's show, we're going to talk about sports, education, current events, entertainment, family, and faith, and how those things collectively or separately can impact our lives. Let's get it. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're joining me, Dr. Cedric Brown, on From the AD's View. We'll be here each Sunday evening at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, and again for more open and honest conversations about things that impact our lives. Before we get started on today's show and before we introduce our guest, first thing I want to do is I want to give honor to God, who is the head of my life. And without him, nothing that I do is possible. And that's very important to me. And I would like to dedicate this show, and I'm calling this show Strictly Business, because we have some dynamic men that are businessmen and entrepreneurs in their own rights. But I want to dedicate this show to a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Tim Herring. Tim was a brother of a different mother, of another color. He is someone that I I loved, and I lost him. We lost him too soon. And there is a scholarship that you see on the screen right now that was put together by family and friends in the Southern Illinois Community Foundation, and it's a scholarship because Tim was a baseball player, three-sport athlete, but he was a baseball player, really good. And the scholarship is for student athlete, both boys and girls who play. Girls play softball, boys play baseball, and that scholarship goes to them for college, for their college expenses. And you see it on the screen right there: www.sicf.org/our funds/T Herring/. It's a it is a worthy cause. If you look into it, you'll want to be a part of that. And all the proceeds go to the young boys and girls, young adults that are going to college. And Tim is such a special person to us. We lost him too soon, and I know that his brother Todd is watching. I know that Amy is watching, and the kids are watching. We love him, and we're so thankful that his memory lives on, because Tim Herring is and was a special person. So now it's time to bring on the very special guest that we have on our show today. And we're going to start with an individual that I've known for about 8 years or so. When I was an assistant men's basketball coach at Lewis and Clark Community College, this young man had begun working with the communities in housing. Um, his name is Mr. Kevin Carski. He is a graduate of Northwestern University. He is the managing member of the Elm Street Housing Group. He does manage and run properties at Lewis and Clark Community College, the school that I'm the AD at. And like I said, he's been partnering with Madison County communities for almost 10 years, this past decade. Let's welcome Kevin Karski. Hey, Kevin,
Thank you,
how are
Dr.
you?
Brown.
How you doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for the invitation to be here.
Well, every time that I think about businessmen and the processes that go into those things and how hard you work, I had to have you on
Oh, well,
the
thank you.
show. I
That's
did.
very kind of you.
I
And
had to have you on the show.
well, thank you. And it's a team effort, and just glad to be here, and also glad to be in partnership with you and Lewis and Clark and the entire athletic department, the entire school.
All right, all right. And also, we have another friend of mine, another businessman, entrepreneur on the show, a Mr. Michael Dean. We call him Mike. Mike is a graduate of Park University in 2007. He's a former U.S. Navy man, and we thank him for his service there. Mike has worked in government security. He owns several businesses. He is currently he's a safety engineer at Nucor Steel, and Mike also is a youth football coach and youth basketball coach previously. Welcome, Mike Dean. Come on in, Mike.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown, for having me. I'm
how you
enjoying
doing?
this.
How you doing,
Good,
man?
good. I'm awesome. I'm enjoying this. My team has won the Super Bowl. I just want to put that out there right now.
I knew
And
you were supposed to say that.
so everything is going great.
Good, good. So the reason why I asked both of you to be on the show is because I've been able to look at your lives, right? I've been able to kind of that living vicariously through you as businessmen. And Mike, just meeting you, we live in the same subdivision, and understanding what you've been doing. Your tomahawk tailgating is second to none in Kansas City, right? And it's spilling over into St. Louis. Can you talk a little bit about what, how did you get that started, Mike? And how has it grown into what it is? I mean, literally, if you go to Kansas City, if you go to a Chiefs football game, everybody knows about tomahawk tailgating.
Oh yes, indeed. And it's been a hobby that turned into something amazing that I couldn't fathom what it turned out to be. I got into it. My wife and I, we went to Houston, Texas, to a Chiefs game when they beat them 33-0. And down in Texas, they have makeshift trailers. I'm like, man, that would make it easy, because I was the guy with 20 to 30 people showing up to my tailgates at Arrowhead, and I have a big old wood fire grill out there cooking for everybody. And we did some research. Took us a couple of years to finally find a company to build the trailer the way we wanted it to be built. And when we did, it just took off from there in 2017. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger every single year.
And I can attest, viewers, I can attest that Michael Dean's food, he's putting his foot in it, he's putting an elbow in it, he might be throwing a nostril in it. He can cook, and the food is delicious. Kevin, your business is similar, entrepreneurial, right?
Mhm.
When we met back in 2014 or 15,
Like that. Yeah.
when the project was just getting off the ground because somebody else had it, and then you all acquired it. What is the importance for you with the housing, right? Because there can be off-campus housing, right? We have what we would consider on-campus housing, right? What are some of the why on-campus housing versus off-campus housing from your perspective?
Well, I think it's a few things. I think one, there's a convenience factor. You can just walk to class, and it's literally just steps from the campus. But the biggest thing is the social aspect of it and the community aspect. Trailblazer Commons, which is the name of our community, it's very diverse. We have people from all over the world, and I think it gives residents the kind of that full college experience, and allows them to live away from home and meet new people and kind of get that experience, and also kind of the first rung of adulthood and the life skills that go along with that. But I think the biggest thing, and I think if you talk to our residents, the biggest thing would be the community aspect of it.
Okay. And Kevin, you are a Northwestern graduate,
I
right?
am.
Up
Yeah.
Evanston, Illinois.
Mhm.
Were you an individual that lived on campus? Did you live off campus? Did that
I
have
was
any?
I was on campus actually the whole time I was there.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean it did, and it still to this day have friends from the original kind of freshman hallway in Evanston there. So, it certainly is what happened for what I and it's also kind of the things you tend to remember most about college. More than necessarily what you learned in a particular class or a fact or something like that, but kind of those nights and experiences together with that kind of first time being away from home and with that group of people.
Sure. And Mike, you don't know a stranger. I know it because you and I are affiliated with one of the local high school booster clubs. Um,
Yeah.
in I believe it was in Parkville, Missouri, which is where Park University is at. I don't know if that's the one that you went to, but what was your experience at the school? Were you a person that commuted to school? Did you live on campus? Did you live off campus?
I took the non-traditional path. I was after I got out of the service. That's when I decided to finish my college degree. But I lived off campus.
Okay.
But one thing that I noticed living on campus provided that security for young people just starting out in life. And the parents really don't want them to live out in town at 18,
Right.
19 years old. So living on campus kind of gave them that security. I met a lot of people, and they invited me to campus to hang out. And it was just protection. That's what the living on campus does versus at a young age of
Mhm.
18, 19 years old.
Right. And because, life wasn't, life now is not what it was then. It was easier for us then, it seemed like, because technology and everything going on right now with our kids, and they have access to more things now. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, Mike, about the protection and wanting to have that sense of security around our students. And I can attest that, at Trailblazer Commons, which is the project that Kevin has and the Elm Street group, that it is first and foremost, right? I mean, they are conscious about making sure that that experience is holistic, but that experience is safe,
For
and
sure.
that experience is endearing to them.
For sure.
I just it it does me good to see young persons like yourselves that are entrepreneurial and also sharing out that information, because Mike, you and I talked a bunch about, um, I have similar interests in cooking and things like that. We talked about that. When I was as the assistant men's basketball coach, Kevin, we talked about me running the
Mhm.
project that you have right now. So
Mhm.
you all have been, since I've known you all, you have been sharing out that information, and that's really important. Why would it be beneficial for a student to have a business major? I mean, from you all's perspective, you're entrepreneurs. Why would it be beneficial for a student to take the major of business management?
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
Kevin, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's an interesting question. I mean, I think there are obviously some practical skills that you pick up and learn as a result of that. I mean, I don't have a business degree, so I don't know that it's necessarily a requirement or a
Hmm.
prerequisite.
Hmm.
Um, I think for undergraduate and also for graduate business degrees, it's a question kind of what you want to do with it. If you want to be a consultant or in finance or on certain tracks, I mean, yeah, obviously it has more value for that, and it's expected. Um, if you're an entrepreneur, I don't know, it's a little bit different. And the other thing with business schools is it doesn't teach you hard work. It doesn't teach you work ethic. It
Okay.
doesn't teach you there's other kind of qualities that will make you successful in business that you won't necessarily learn in a classroom. So I think it's always sort of important to kind of keep that in mind too.
Okay. What about you, Mike? I mean, because I've seen you, and you have a son, and I call him nephew, and I constantly watch the things that you're teaching him as a young man, right? And you talk about work ethic. You talk about owning your own, having your own. Is it important? Do you think it's important for students to go under that business management major, that track?
Uh, one thing that I've learned: ignorance is no excuse. Whenever you learn something, you may not think it's fruitful at the time, but my degree is a human resource management and business organization. As I went on, the things I've learned in every single class, I've used that information to grow and to understand the businesses that I have. And it allowed me to not make a lot of simple mistakes that could cost a lot of money. And that's it, the simple mistakes. That's what it helps you avoid. Getting that education and being around other business-minded people and having a mentor. That's very important. Someone that has made the mistakes before you. I learned from my grandfather. He had a janitorial business, graduated with eighth grade education, and he's still working at 85 years old.
Wow.
Because he chooses to.
Wow.
So that's where I learned a lot of business from.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're about to go to break, but before we go to break, I have a question for you two. Would you rather play pickleball or racquetball? Mike, would you rather play pickleball or racquetball?
I'm old now with a bad knee. Give me pickleball.
Kevin, what about you? Pickleball or racquetball?
I'm probably more racquetball, I guess. I like them. I like them both. I guess racket. It's a little bit better. It's better exercise, I guess. Probably.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you win the prize, Kevin, because Leon Thomas of the Leon Thomas Group has racquetball revival that involves youth there in the DMV, the Baltimore area, and he does a fantastic job. So
cool.
I guarantee you, look in your inbox, you'll be getting an invitation to racquetball revival with Mr. Leon Thomas.
Okay.
Right. But we're about to go to break. You're watching From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We'll be right back after this break.
Smooth, luxurious, a bold statement that'll leave you speechless. Our making models are elegant with class, total experience, customized. Your masterpiece at your doorstep. Johnson Luxury Auto.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back. You're watching From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Be sure to catch us each Sunday evening at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, and you can catch us, and we will be talking about sports, education, current events, we'll be talking about so many things that impact our lives. If you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me on Instagram at From the AD's View. And let's bring back our guests. We have Mr. Kevin Carski, the managing member of the Elm Street Housing Group, and Mr. Mike Dean. He's a safety engineer with Nucor Steel, excuse me, and he's also the owner of Tomahawk Tailgating. Welcome back, gentlemen. How's the show going? What do you think?
Great.
It's going awesome. Loving it.
Good. So we're going to switch. We've been talking about business. We've been talking about, some of the, off-campus housing, on-campus housing. Let's switch to something that's probably near and dear to Michael's heart. What is the impact of having two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl? I'm going to start with you, Mike.
It has shown little black kids that they can be anything they want to be. You can't put anything in a box, can't put yourself in a box. You got to be willing to put forth the work and the effort. And also, above all else, it took a team for them to get there, a team of red, black, yellow, white, what have you. They had to lean on other people to get to where they are. So it was awesome to see that team of multi races come together.
Yeah. And Kevin, from your perspective, you're in the DC area, right? And I'm sure that you hear a lot about what's going on in Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts being there. From your perspective, what do you think that it meant to have two African-American quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl?
I think it's great. And I think it's hopefully inspirational to a lot of people.
And, I talked to Kevin, and Kevin, is like, Dr. Brown, I don't know a whole lot about sports, but I can
give you the question in advance. Right?
I can chime in with you a little bit. But one thing that I do know that Kevin Karski knows a lot about is travel. And so Kevin, what's the most exciting thing that you've done with travel or destination or getaways? I mean, every time that we try to set up a meeting with one another, you're like, I'll be back in the country in 2 weeks, or I'll be, because sometimes it's pleasure, but a lot of times it's business, right?
Yeah.
You're conducting business. So what's the most exciting thing that you've done recently with your travel or your destinations or your getaways?
I think it's exciting. I guess some favorite places have been in Asia. Really went to Vietnam. This was years ago, but I really thought that was a fascinating country, fascinating culture. Really enjoyed Israel too, Jerusalem specifically. Just also really rich history. And then just for pleasure, Italy's great. It's hard to have a bad time in Italy. But yeah, and then domestically have business all over the country, so kind of been all over for that.
Yeah. And Mike, I know that you and the missus just came off of a destination type of vacation. And you've done more than just that. Why do you choose the places that you choose, and why do you travel to the places that you want to go to? Because you do a lot of research when you go places, Mike. I mean, more so than anybody that I've ever known. And when you pick the places that you want to go to.
Well, my wife does a lot of research. I just have to agree with it. So, and if she's happy, I'm happy. But while I was in the service, I did a lot of traveling. I went to Cannes, France, Naples, Italy, Antalya, Turkey, Rhodes, Greece, Palma, Spain. I also went to Israel, toured the Holy City, touched the waters of the Jordan River. And we recently went to Cancun. We went to Belize. And so, yes, we believe in vacationing because we do work hard.
Yeah. Is there, what's the one place, and Mike, I'll start with you. What's the one place, Mike, that you have not been that you want to go to? What's on your bucket list?
Hold on. Rachel, where am I going next? No. um, we have talked about going to basically New York City. That's one place that's on our bucket list, just to get the experience.
And I can show you all the spots. All you gotta do is come with your big bro, and I can show you all the spots.
All right. But
So,
St. Martin is the next place we're going to go that has a beach. That's always our vacation goal. Where is there a beach?
Okay. And then Kevin, you've been many places, right? I'm sure that passport has many stamps on it.
Mm-hmm.
Where's one place that you've not been that you would like to go to? What's on your bucket list?
Japan. I mean, I haven't made it past the airport, but I've always kind of wanted to explore the country. And I've been on flight layovers, but not beyond that. Egypt too. I'd love to see the pyramids and Valley of the Kings and kind of all that.
Okay,
those would be top two, I guess.
Absolutely. So I'm a switch before we close out the show a little bit. And I often talk, and I know both of you have heard me talk about my faith and things like that, and how it has rooted me in the things that I do. But let me ask both of you, and I'll start with you, Mike. How has your faith or spiritualness, right, impacted your life?
I live without fear. That's what my faith has allowed me to do, and go and do things that oh, okay, I've just never done it before. Let me go try it. I can only die and go to heaven. So that's why I say I live without fear.
Okay. All right. That's a really thoughtful perspective. And Kevin, the same question to you, faith or spiritualness, how has it impacted your life?
I think it's kind of similar, because I was thinking about this question before, and I think more than anything, it brings tremendous comfort, knowing that there's something after this, and that this life isn't the end, and it brings peace and knowing that if you experience a loss, that you'll see the person on the other side.
Sure. Okay. Before we leave, what advice would you have for young businessmen and businesswomen coming up right now? If you could give them your 30-second elevator speech, Mike Dean, what would you say to the young entrepreneurs and the young businessmen and businesswomen?
A mistake is an opportunity. Learn from it. Surround yourself with positive people, not people that say you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't try that. Go to the people that say, hey, I've tried that, and when I did it this way, this is what I experienced. So be on the lookout for those things. It's surrounding yourself with good people and people that are knowledgeable.
Thank you for that. And Kevin, what advice would you give?
Well, I'd say a few things. I'd say don't stop after the first no. And by that, I mean, inevitably you're going to hit roadblocks, and you're going to have people tell you no, or something can't be done, or it's not possible. And have the perseverance to kind of move beyond that and work to get to yes. And then also don't be afraid to ask people for help. You'd be very surprised. I mean, the worst they can say to you is no, but you'd be surprised picking up the phone and calling people and getting in front of them and asking for advice and help and perspective. You'd be surprised how many people will say yes.
Sure. Kevin, if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
I think the best thing is we check out for the community at Lewis and Clark. Go check out our website, www.trailblazercommons.com, or give us a call, 618-468-1065.
Okay. And Kevin, thank you. Thank you for being a part. And Mike, if people want to get some of that good food, that good eating, or if they want to learn more about Nucor and those opportunities that you have there, how can they get in contact with you, Mike?
At tomahawk-tailgating.com or Instagram, Tomahawk Tailgating.
Okay. And Mike, as always, thank you so much. And before I leave, I need to give a shout out to one of my other brothers, William Billy Burgess. I thank you for all your support. You were part of me and Tim's life as well. So I thank you. And if you'd like to get in contact with me, you can reach me at CM Brown Sport Management at yahoo.com, or you can reach me on my Instagram at From the AD's View. You can reach us, or you can view us each Sunday at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, for more of this thought-provoking conversation that we're having. And again, I dedicate this to Tim Herring. And I got through the show, but it was hard for me to get through it because he is someone that means so much to me. And we love you, Tim. We're always thinking about you, and you will always go on in our life and in the lives of these young people, through sport and through education. So I thank you for joining us. Good night, and God bless.